Hi guys, my name is Kai. I'm going to teach you how I do side flips. When I try and learn flips, I kind of find it easier if you break it down into 3 sections. The takeoff, the actual flip itself, the rotation in the air, and then the landing. Okay, so when it comes to takeoff, I prefer the split foot over the straight out 2-footed block. I find it a lot less impact on my body, especially on concrete. And I find it can give me a lot more power as well. It's also really handy if you're trying to do a side flip over a distance, because you can really set that distance that you want to shoot, rather than off that 2-footed block. It's just going to send you straight up in the air. So when it comes to takeoff, I'm running at a little bit of pace, kind of judge it to however I want to do the side flip. And then my hips are slightly behind my feet as I'm blocking, which is going to give that dig that you want to transfer that full momentum into upward momentum. If your chest up, if your chest is down, then instantly the rotation is going to go straight over your head. It's not going to go up to begin with. So you really want to make sure that takeoff chest is up like this to make sure the takeoff goes up in the air. And then it's all about the lift of the shoulders and the position of the chest on that block. So you're really bringing the chest up and turning the head slightly to the left if you're going over your right shoulder. If you're going over your left shoulder, you're turning your head slightly to the right. Lifting your chest and lifting your shoulders and really bringing your chest and your hips up into the air. So as you leave the ground, you need to start thinking about the rotation. So you come into step 2, which is the flip itself. So it's all about that back leg, how that drives up. It's lifting the left hip, or on the other side, of course, it'd be the right hip. Just lifting that hip up in the air to give that rotation. And you want to get that tuck as tight as possible as well, because it's going to reduce, air resistance and things like that. It's going to make you spin much faster. So personally, I prefer to grab the front of my shins below my knee. The rotation itself is kind of almost like a barrel roll rather than an actual somersault over your head. You're not really going over your head as much as you're going over like across your back, almost like a roll. And as you rotate, you want to be looking over and looking for the floor, ready to spot that landing. So as you're rotating, it should be quite easy to spot the floor as you get round. So it should be too much of a shock when you see it coming. You should be able to reach out to the landing, which is stage 3. You want to absorb nicely on the balls of your feet. So as you're rotating, you should be able to spot the floor quite easily as you come round. So make sure you're reaching out to the floor to land and absorb nicely. Okay, a good way to build up to doing side flips is to have a friend, get him to bend over and just try and roll across his back in that tuck position. Or if you have the gym facilities, you can use soft blocks and things like that. And just practice rolling over that block across the top of your back in a tuck position. So when it comes to side flipping gaps, the takeoff is really important. I use that takeoff to dive out and really focus on the position that I'm aiming at. So looking at the point that I'm landing before I'm tucking. So as I'm looking over, I'm ready to spot that landing position again. It really helps you to focus on the point where you're going to land on and to put the right kind of power into the side flip as well. Also, when side flipping gaps, the landing is quite important because you can actually extend the distance of your side flip by opening out slightly earlier and extending those legs a bit further. So when it comes to side flipping from height, you're often going to want to roll out the landing because there's a lot of impact to absorb. I personally find it a little bit easier to turn that front shoulder out of the way a little bit so I'm landing slightly forwards, which helps to initiate the roll. And also when it comes to taking off from height as well, you obviously don't want to put too much height into the flip itself. You kind of drive it outwards or even just kind of drop it off if you can, so you're not absorbing too much impact when you come off the top. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Hopefully it was helpful for you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and make sure you subscribe to Flow for some more awesome content. Thanks.